Chapter 12. Music from America. All over the world, people listen to American music. It began with the songs of black American slaves. Black slaves in the South sang work songs and religious songs with a shape of call and response. This is like a conversation in music. One person sings, and then another answers. When the slaves got their freedom after the Civil War, they began to tell their own stories in music called the blues, particularly in the area around the Mississippi River. It had the same shape, where the singer sings and the guitar answers. The word blue can mean sad, and the songs tell a sad story of hard work and danger. At the beginning of the 20th century, black people moved from the South to the North to find work. They took their music with them to cities like Chicago and Detroit. Musicians like Muddy Waters, Willie Dixon, John Lee Hooker, and Howlin' Wolf were the first to use electric guitars. Records of the blues became very popular in the 1920s and 1930s, when singers like Bessie Smith became famous. In the 1950s, Elvis Presley, who came from Mississippi, was the first white singer to sing music that came from the blues. In the 1960s, soul was born from the old-style blues, with singers like Marvin Gaye and Otis Redding. The city of Detroit has a lot of car factories, and it gave the name Motown, to soul music. People all over the world listened to Motown singers like Diana Ross, Stevie Wonder, and the Jackson 5 in the 1960s and 70s. Jazz was born in the city of New Orleans, on the Mississippi River in the far south of the USA. It, too, probably began with the songs and dancing of black slaves in the 1830s. The musician Jelly Roll Morton said he was the first to play jazz in 1897, but nobody really knows when it began. Black musicians like Louis Armstrong became famous in the 1920s in Chicago, and jazz music became popular across the world after it traveled to New York and Paris in the 1930s. George Gershwin, who made music for films and theater, thought jazz was an important part of American life, and he used it in music like his Rhapsody in Blue. During the Second World War, American soldiers brought the swing music of the big dance bands like Glenn Miller to Europe. This was not jazz, but part of the same family of music. Now names of great jazz musicians like Miles Davis, Stan Getz, and John Coltrane are known all over the world, and people write, sing, and play jazz in many countries. But New Orleans, where it all began, is not the exciting place that it once was. The city was famous for Mardi Gras, which was like a wonderful party in the streets, with colorful clothes, music, and dancing. But the city is on land which is lower than the sea, and in 2005, Hurricane Katrina covered its streets and houses with water. Several thousand people died, and the city was badly damaged. Will New Orleans live again one day as the home of music? The musicians hope so, and many still come every year to play in the New Orleans Jazz Festival. Another popular kind of American music is country, or country and western, which has its home in Nashville, Tennessee. It started from the music of the Scottish, Irish, and English people who came to live in the Appalachian Mountains. Country music began to be really popular in the 1920s, when Jimmie Rodgers and the Carter family made the first country records, and the Grand Ole Opry radio show started in Nashville. Music is still recorded in Nashville, and if you go there, you can visit the Country Music Hall of Fame. One of the most famous women country singers is Dolly Parton, who has also appeared in films like 9 to 5 and Steel Magnolias. Johnny Cash, the Man in Black, sold millions of records in the 1960s and 1970s, and was still popular when he died in 2003. The 2005 film Walk the Line, which told the story of Johnny's early life, was very successful. In the 1990s, a new kind of music called rap became popular in New York. It came from black and Puerto Rican people and told of a dangerous life on the streets, where there was fighting and killing. Rappers don't sing, but they talk very fast over music. Some famous rappers are Eminem, Snoop Dogg, and Missy Elliott.